Have you ever read a love letter that was so brutally honest that it made you feel sick to your stomach? 'Cause Khadiyah Katie Lewis did more than just write a farewell letter. For instance, "Dear Jock, I loved you, but damn, she never got it together." Boom, tears, tissues, and timeline explosions. Sis dropped an emotional bomb that has everyone on the internet clutching their chests, as if it were the telenovela's season finale. Now wait, what if I told you that this dark, sealed tea package, which had been concealed for years, contained the ability to destroy a man and rock a huge fan base to its core? What if, in addition to love, that love note held truth, regret, and secrets that no reality show could ever control? Mr. Young Jock, what if? Was she never really over by the king of the hair revolution himself? Hold on, because what started out as a private farewell letter has now turned into a triangle of love. An unsaid issue that took an unanticipated turn. Following Katie's final comment, other things went viral online besides mock code. And, sweetheart, the true drama has just begun. Let's take a closer look at each letter. Tell one untruth after another. Consider this, a black envelope, no glitter, stickers or clickbait titles, just a name, Jay-Z Robinson. Indeed, precisely, young sportsperson. Furthermore, inside, no money, no embarrassing pictures, no court order. He got worse, raw hands and heartbreak. A final goodbye from the one woman who persevered through every wig. A woman and wild-ass moment, Khadiyah and Lewis. Before you think this is just another hip-hop breakup and viral love tale, let me stop you there. It wasn't reality TV. This was the real world. You see, the letter wasn't posted online for clout. It wasn't leaked by a dishonest assistant or sold to the bloggers. This object was sealed and stored in a private box for years. Moreover, no one, not even Jock, knew it existed until Katie's brother accidentally opened it while going through her stuff during the funeral. Yes, let it marinate for a while. And as Jock read it, the youngster did not just cry, he collapsed to the ground. This was a full-fledged, dramatic, Lifetime movie meltdown. Not just a simple "I miss you" message written in a pink pen. Katie's honesty, her pain, and her peace were her last words. As I said in the first line, I have always loved you. I just didn't know how to put it into words. Boom. Twitter is ablaze. Because of TikTok, it has already turned into a sobbing voiceover fad. The fact that this was not closure was immediately apparent to everyone, which caused Facebook Andes to clutch pearls. This was an acknowledgement of guilt. To understand why that one phrase resonated so strongly, though, you have to go all the way back before the baby moms, before the side ladies, and before Carly read anything. Let's not mince words. Katie was the only woman Jock had writing for him, so was always enough attention for Jock. The man had more hairstyles than Rihanna's award show outfits, and more kids than Nick Cannon's whole family tree. But that was in the early 2010s, when he was involved in a lot of scandals and going out to clubs. Katie wasn't just his girlfriend, she was his anchor. They met through their business. KD was more interested in the bag than the blogs. Quiet, sharp, and uninterested in theatrics. But drama still found her. She developed feelings for Jock. Furthermore, the man, Katie Saj, kept Jock the clown off camera and attended to his business. While he mishandled his public image, didn't beg for attention, never gave a clap in response to the catastrophe. She wasn't looking for attention. She cleaned up after it. And it was effective for a while until single quotations were eliminated in 2014. They were occupied with starting companies, peering on Love and Hip Hop, and concealing their feud. However, the following is the misfortune of openly adoring someone while they are still in love with everyone else. In silence, you transform into invisible. KD saw more ladies than a Tyler Perry reunion, as well as Jock's shady interviews and public infidelity. And what did she do? Nothing. No viral interviews, no Twitter tirades, and no "I told y'all" moments. She just left. But leaving does not mean letting go. Jock, he wasn't ready to let her go either. According to reports, they kept messaging. On each birthday, he presented roses. Katie kept watching his story on a burner. And a sportsman had a lot of burners, just to see how she was doing. Have you ever had a deep love for someone that prevented you from communicating to them, but you couldn't stop watching them live, even if you weren't there? Yes, that kind of love. In 2018, things almost got better. Jock finally comes out of his baby mom's stupor. He gave up playing. He also bought himself a ring. Indeed, comprehensive plans for bids. Said to a close friend, "I'm flying to Houston. I'm making this right." But 3 days before the journey, he pulled out. Maybe cold feet? Ego, probably. But what he told that friend still bothers fans. She deserves someone who you don't have. To lose her, to love her, think about that for a second. 'Cause when the door was open, he had the opportunity to make it right, but he closed it on himself. Time 2. There was no time for him to wait. In early 2024, KD was diagnosed with an unusual condition. There was something rough, something quiet, something genuine. Not for fans, not for blogs, nor for resolution. She wrote silently after telling no one. No posts, no pity party. She just wanted peace letters to people that truly influenced her life. Jock was, in fact, at the top of that list. In her letter to him, she was not resentful. It wasn't insignificant. The receipts list wasn't a hit list. It was real. She wrote, "I thought we had more time, but I've been loving you in silence since the day I walked away." This was no story of Jock's redemption, and the plot suddenly took a different turn. When KD made his final mic drop, the internet wasn't ready. Then the video came up. You heard, right? In addition to the letter, KD left a video message on a little silver flash drive that was taped with a single note. Only hit play if you're ready to understand everything. Jock didn't press play for 3 days. He couldn't. And when he did, he didn't even reach halfway because her subsequent statement completely altered the situation. So where were we? Yes, exactly. A flash disk, huh? Let's be truthful. If someone sends you a sealed letter with a USB disk that says only press play when you're ready to learn everything, you'd better have a defibrillator nearby. This message is serious. And young Jock had a terrible time. It took him 3 days to press play. 3 whole days. He was terrified of Katie's words. Not because he expected her to attack him, but because he knew that would be the only thing he could do to protect himself. Was unable to escape. The truth does. After that, the screen fades in. No filters, no glam. Katie is sitting by himself in a quiet room wearing only a sweatshirt, no makeup, and eyes that have clearly been suppressed for years. His hair is tied up in a scarf. Then she starts talking, as though she knew this was the last chapter of her life and could finally choose how it ended. She talked in a steady, quiet, slightly cracked voice with an odd sense of peace. "I believed you would never open the package, but," she said, "if you're watching this, I'm gone. Allow silence." Reports state that Jock's breathing ceased for a second of all. This was not a staged reality TV monologue. This was the posthumous live farewell from his true love. Then she hits him with the line that pierces the internet's collective chest. "You are the love of my life, even if you were never mine." One could hear a million jaws slamming onto the floor. She continues by explaining how he had come to her broken by other women, bad decisions, and public upheaval, and how she had consistently patched him back together before repeatedly witnessing him leave. But she doesn't hold him responsible, adding, "This isn't about guilt. I'm not going to haunt you. I'm letting you go." This is where it gets more interesting than an unscripted reunion episode. As fans started to mourn with Jock, another voice entered the chat room, not in the video, but on Twitter, when Katie's cousin Tamara, who had remained silent throughout, suddenly sent a mysterious tweet. You guys act like Jock was the only person she wrote to. Chase ghosts. Jock, don't change what has already happened. Let's go live. Now pause, because let's face it, that line isn't just for Jock. It's for everyone who has ever tried to fix someone while they were crying inside. After 5 seconds, everyone said, hold up, and the internet switched to FBI mode. Are we talking about a different man? Yes, indeed, we are. Because there were other envelopes except for that black one. It turns out that Katie sent another letter in her private notebook, this time to a person she called M. And in one now viral post, she wrote, "You were my wild love. My tender affection was for him." Let's pause once more because that one statement completely flipped the story around. It was a full-blown double heartbreak instead of just a somber love letter to a damaged ex. Suddenly, Jock wasn't the only one in mourning. So, who is Marcus D? Good question. Prior to all of this, he was just a quiet guy in the background, no blogs, no scandals, no clout chasing, just peace. And he was a jock, but oh, he was there. Fans went crazy, bringing up a 2021 birthday post of Katie sitting at a candlelit dinner with a single picture of her and a man with the cutest smile, captioned, "Real peace, real vibes, no clout. No club scenes, just steady love behind the scenes." That man, Marcus, does the red carpet. The real gut punch, however, is that she never stopped loving them both. Instead of rekindling a romance, Katie's letter to Jock was about finally releasing them both. Marcus, being the low-key man that he is, changed his Instagram bio to just 5 words. I already loved her through it. There were no pictures, no hashtags, and no tags. And for some reason, that hit harder than any public statement Jock could make. Job gave her chaos, but Marcus gave her peace. Fans were horrified by the lyrical, mature, and devastating remark, which sparked an immense social media response. One post said, Katie loved both calm and chaos in silence. But it wasn't over because Jock still had one more thing waiting for him. Just when everyone thought the heartbreak had reached its peak, Katie's family found something else. Tucked away in the back of her heart, Katie's story had become a mirror. Not just for Jock, but for everyone who ever left quietly because love stopped being safe. A woman's life was a love triangle between the two. And another, this isn't even about Jock anymore. She wasn't planning a wedding, trying on veils, or even in a relationship at the time. But she never stopped hoping, and that's what broke everyone. In the attic, locked in a garment bag, was a wedding dress, not just any dress, but a custom gown, untouched, designed in 2019 with no engagement, no fiancé, just hope. Inside the box was a single handwritten note that read, "If he ever comes back, I want to be ready." Possibility even if it never came to pass. He was unable to talk for hours, silently, quietly, alone, and Jolie. Sources claim that he didn't even finish the video and he passed out in his studio while it was still on camera. With no drama, just a man alone, broken by the woman who loved him no matter what. The world started to ask the question that no one could definitively answer. Can someone love two people equally at the same time? Was KD wrong for never making a decision? Or was she the only one brave enough to admit the truth we all avoid? Let's pause. A deathbed video message, a black envelope, a secret second lover, and now a custom white wedding dress hidden in an attic for a man who never showed up. Well, this isn't the kind of plotline that makes Hollywood screenwriters reevaluate their careers. I don't know what is. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more poignant, poetic, or devastating, it did. Because while everyone else was crying into their phones and quoting Katie's lines like a Bible, Jock remained silent, too quiet, making the silence seem heavier than any post he could have made. Then, without a press release, a vlog, or a camera crew, a blurry photo of a notebook page was posted to Jock's Instagram story with the caption, "No tag, no tears, just truth." And there was a brief, unquestionably authentic handwritten poem on that page. I yelled, and you whispered. While I wandered, you waited. I wait in solitude now. Mick fell. The comment section went crazy. But here's the thing. Jock wasn't trying. To win people over, he didn't release an album and he didn't rush to the closest podcast. Fans flooded his direct messages with heartbreak, crying emojis and messages like, "We failed, Katie." Other people reposted the poem with titles like, "Too Little, Too Late." Katie's final farewell became everyone's personal agony. A voice memo, leaked by a studio engineer, claims that Jock entered the booth and said, "This isn't for fans. For the person who stayed when I didn't, this is for her." He didn't even show up for a Love and Hip Hop taping. Instead, he disappeared for weeks, leaving the studio and the clubs. Rumors started to circulate that he was back in the booth to make a tribute, a full-length memorial album dedicated to KD. Something honest and personal, without ghostwriters or filters. Just the kind of music you make when you're not trying to chart, just trying to cope. Merit it. But here's what really got people. This wasn't about a comeback. This was about closure. Jock wasn't trying to make amends in public. He was grieving privately, and in a world where every apology has a promo code, that kind of silence hits differently. Naturally, the internet remained chaotic, and Katie's story sparked a full-fledged debate about whether a woman can be faithful to two men or just Marcus, because people identified with Khadiyah, the woman who gave, the woman who waited, the woman who loved both men completely and yet ended up writing a farewell letter instead of wedding vows. That one line was reposted 200,000 plus times across platforms in just 48 hours. Speaking of Marcus, Marcus was silent while Jock was subtly spiraling. Phew, Jock had her peace. Marcus had her peace, and Jock had her chaos. But when it came down to it, she had none of their hearts. He avoided interviews, Instagram posts, and even reposting stories until he did the most Marcus thing imaginable. The internet split again, with one side saying Marcus was the one. Did he love her? The other side said, despite the pain, Katie was always Jock's. He posted a picture of Katie's favorite spot in her living room with a candle lit, one teacup on the table, and the caption, "Peace isn't loud, but it lasts." Nobody wants to admit this, though. It wasn't Katie who asked to be chosen. She resigned herself to the fact that she might never be. Additionally, she chose to forsake love in the only approach she knew of. At last, silently, completely. It might be the real tragedy. Because when you remove the love triangle, funeral rumors, flash drives, and fan theories, you're left with a woman who loved more covertly than any of the men who claimed her ever did. What we have now is a studio Mick listening to a man sing about his regrets, videos, letters, pieces, and an unworn wedding gown. Jock has not disclosed the album's release date, but insiders claim it is called Black Envelope. And if that doesn't break you emotionally, you could be made of concrete. Among the alleged track titles are She Waited, Attic Dust, The Dress, and Soft. The devastating closer, Love If I Had Stayed, and Wild Love Interlude. Folks, this isn't music. Line by line, lyric after lyric, tear after tear. Fans are ready to analyze this eulogy. But before we continue, let me leave you with one final mystery. Because shortly after we thought we had seen and heard everything, the family found another recording. Marcus's phone had a voicemail 2 weeks before Katie passed away. 10 seconds. Later, she took one final breath, and everything changed again. If you see Jock, tell him thank you for loving me even when he didn't know how, and tell him I never stopped. That's it, 'cause although she found love to be chaotic and unpleasant, it was nonetheless love, even if it didn't work out the way she had hoped, even if it was unrequited and unfulfilled. Maybe that's the real story here. Males didn't particularly appeal to KD. Jock has no regrets about anything. Not that Marcus waited quietly in the wings, but Katie lived and died on her own terms and was able to forgive people who didn't deserve her peace, much less her silence. She didn't drag anyone. She concealed them. She refrained from creating rifts. She just went out with honor, integrity, and love. Now we're all left in the dark. Now that you've heard the voicemail, the video, the letters, and the clothes, tell me this: with whom did Katie fall in love more? Was it Jock, the guy who brought fire, turmoil, and history? Marcus was the one who calmed her after everyone had forgotten her name. Furthermore, which of them truly deserved her? Some of you are KD, silently loving people, hoping they'll change and preparing for futures that might never come. Let's face it, others, you're squandering good love till it's too late. Few rare ones. You're Marcus. Gently and subtly expressing your love for someone without asking for recognition. Then tell me which one you are. Leave a comment now. Be honest. Have you ever disappointed someone by taking too long to convey something crucial? Worse yet, do you still hope that someone will come back? If this story touched you in any way, even if just a little, or if Katie's final message reminded you of someone you left on read instead of replying to, please click the like button. As you are already aware, when Jock's tribute album is released, we will be here breaking it down line by line, lyric by lyric, and tear by tear. Please subscribe to Smash, because there were other stories besides Katie's. Of all the love stories, this one remains unresolved. And now is the moment to begin talking about it. I'll see you at the next one. Go tell someone how you really feel in the interim before the letter has been sealed.